What You Gonna Do? As creaking rocking chairs were slowly swayed, red whittled wood and calmly rose crocheted, a single candle with its dancing torch had dimly lit the pair upon the porch. But once they sensed that someone in the dark approached, crocheting stopped and Rose remarked, "Too early to be Clancy, don't you figure?" That straightened Red, who sat up roused with vigor. The candlestick wore coats of dripping wax, some new and smooth, some old with bony backs. And Red could feel the textures in his hand while grasping it, while rocking hard to stand. He cupped his other hand to shield his eyes, and held the candle out to analyze the movement in the dark and misty air. He used a forceful tone to ask, "Who there?" That moment, Boone came running into view, and Clancy answered, "Pa, it's me and Boone." His father's brow did not release a crease. "I figured it'd be later, 10 at least." As Red inquired, Boone did not reduce his speed, hurdling steps that served no use. And like a horse he reared with kicking feet that pushed the startled man back in his seat. Miss Rose took special note. The man was smiling, yet not obligatory or beguiling, an honest smile, one any wife could spot. The smile she feared the man had long forgot. "Hey there, boy, come on. No licks, Red said, who chuckled, blocking kick and kiss. Behind them, Clancy climbed a groaning stair as Rose examined him from on her chair. She asked her son, half joking, "You get canned?" But Clancy said defensively, "No, ma'am." The man did not meander. "Why you home?" His answer, "Pa, can we just talk alone?" Since open windows gave no privacy, she grabbed her pin and strings and said, "I see. Don't want me here? That's fine. Y'all discuss," she waved her hand, "your secret, manly stuff." Once Rose went in and closed the door behind, his father asked him, "Clance, what's on your mind?" "Pa, I done me something awful bad. I'll tell, but gotta swear you won't be mad." His mother listened on as Red replied, "Before I hear it, how could I abide? Boy, what'd you do?" And Clancy said, "I stoled." The boy pulled out the whip still loosely rolled. The whip unraveled, reaching quickly down, as if it could escape upon the ground. Through curtains, Rose looked on as Red exclaimed, "What in all tarnation? Let me splain." "You better splain, 'cause lest my eyes deceive, that is the Deacon Dowdy's whip you thieved." "He said he'd stop the whip for me and all if I could get the whip from off his wall. But I ain't taked it like a crook for keeps, fixin' to give her back and ask for peace." "There ain't no peace with wicked men like that. What you're going to do is put her back, before he even knowed the thing was gone." "He knowed already." Clancy stopped. "Go on." But Clancy stammered, There's something more. When at the school, they're hiding on the floor, I heard me something I wasn't supposed to hear." His father saw the boy was shook with fear, and so he said, "Go on. Just take her slow." "It's something that I wish I didn't know. But there I was, under Dowdy's desk, all huddled with my knees up against my chest. And then I heard Miss Millie crying wild about how she is knocked up with Dowdy's child." His mother's jaw had all but hit her feet, but Red seemed not surprised. "That rotten cheat." "They sure is worried word is going to spread, but they'll take care of it," the deacon said. With each and every detail, Red began to see the picture clear and understand that finally he had the dragon hooked. He smoothed his beard and said, Old Dowdy's cooked. And 2 more times he stroked his weathered beard before he asked, Does Dowdy know you heerd? How does he know the whip was taked by you? So Clancy answered, Sort of left a clue. I left a peek in there to let him know I snatched the whip from right beneath his nose. Red paused to think, then asked, But did he see your face? Can't we just say that it was me? Don't reckon that he knowed for sure, I guess. Can't put you in the middle of this mess. But he ain't gonna hang me for it, will he? He needs to hush the news about Miss Millie. There ain't no telling what a man'll do to keep the world from knowing what is true. And Dowdy can't allow this all to leak. He'd slit your throat to make sure you don't speak. Clancy swallowed hard at Red's summation and hoped it was a gross exaggeration. But as he did, a new plan was produced. He asked his dad, Think we could get a truce? 'Cause I would promise not to tell a soul if it would keep me out a 6-foot hole. Can't trust a man like that to keep his word. You deal with the devil, son, and you'll get burned. I reckon best you give the whip to me, and we'll done say I taked it, come what be. As Red reached out to take the whip, his son pulled back his arm behind his hip. The boy could see the opportunity that Red was offering immunity. So Clancy conjured tears and said, Do tell. Does stealing this mean that I's fit for hell? Don't have that thought, 'cause hell ain't even real. I reckon not. It's just a made-up place that wicked men have built to keep the sheep inside the pen. If hell is real, then it is Cartersville. There ain't no place of torment worser still. Well, stealing ain't the only thing I done. He looked away. You can tell me, son. His hat had cast a shadow on his face, as Clancy's head was hanging in disgrace, which hid the tear that pooled into a ball and hung there like the final leaf of fall. Clancy confessed, I lied. I'm sorry, Pa. He brushed his scar as if the wound was raw. It wasn't Blaine who busted up my chin. I told y'all a lie. Went for a swim. But Terrence threw a rock at Tommy, see, and instead of hitting him, it walloped me. Both you and Mama made it clear as day you needed help, but I runned off to play. Since Clancy's head was down and turned aside, his father let a little chuckle slide. You think I bought that Blaine was like a killer that jumped y'all and chunked you in the river? I never bought that tale, not for a cent. If someone hurt you, I'd be awful bent. Rose tutted, shook her head, and rolled her eyes, ashamed that she had purchased Clancy's lies. And Red went on, But Dowdy ain't like Blaine. He ain't no boy from school. This ain't no game. So Red put out his hand. You give it here, and what we'll say is that I taked it. Clear? Clancy handed him the whip and asked, So what you gonna do? The whip was grasped. The Lord has brung this here for getting even, to show the church the deacon is a demon. When Rose heard Red and Clancy coming in, she quickly grabbed her yarn and hooking pin, pretending she had been preoccupied so that they wouldn't know the woman spied. She said, Y'all get all them secrets out? Yes, ma'am, we did. I sure is sorry about wanting to talk to Pa alone this time. You must have needed advice about Caroline. Her tone was bitter, needing something more, and so her son obliged. She awful sore, 'cause she done buyed me a 'spensive towny hat. I told her straight I can't be wearing that. and so I gived it back, and now she ticked." He paused. "You should have seen the one she picked. Oh, it was handsome with a fancy feel, and cost a pretty penny down at Beale's." She paused her pen and said, "Well, goodness sake! I reckon any girl be sour grapes to be so burned and left there standing scorched, just like a mama told to leave her porch." Her words were pointed with a lesson learned about how easily a female's spurned. "Come on now, Mama, wasn't meant that way. I's had enough of trouble for a day." His mom went back to crossly twisting knots before she fired one more parting shot. "Least now she sees the difference between you two. That Richie's more a fit for Blaine than you." When Clancy pictured Caroline with him, a clammy sickness settled on his skin. Then nausea produced a bitter taste as Clancy choked down his own sour grapes. Red hung his hat upon a nail and said, "It's candles out, y'all, and time for bed." And when he walked, he felt the bulky whip within his pocket, heavy, rough, and stiff. Boone jumped on Clancy's bed and circled tightly to press down mattress lumps, then laid down lightly, while letting out a long, exhaustive huff, expressing how the day was long enough. Clancy slowly followed after Boone and pulled the sheet partitioning the room. Before he cinched the window curtain closed, he yawned while taking off his grimy clothes. When Clancy's head and downy pillow met, his heart soon overflowed with deep regret, and sorrow spilled a spring of running tears that he could feel collecting on his ears. But he could also feel the heavy drag of sheer exhaustion that caused his lids to sag, then close, while drifting off in sleepy trembles as hardened tears dried tightly on his temples. When Rose heard Clancy's deep and restful breathing, she asked her husband questions, gently leading. "I reckon lot was said out there tonight. How Clancy and Caroline done had a fight." He sat in silence on the end of his bed as Rose kept baiting him with crumbs of bread. "A townie hat? She got a lot of nerve. I reckon that she got what she deserved." "You must be awful proud of Clancy, though. It'd take the spine of oak to tell her no." He didn't budge or speak, and Rose grew hot. She threw a pillow. "Gonna talk or not?" "Dadgummit, woman, who you think you're hittin'? I feel you pawing at me like a kitten." He stood up with the pillow in his hand. "At least I didn't hit you with the pan." "I hear you asking me about Caroline, as if you wasn't at the window spine. I figure you was peeking like a possum, with snooping ears as open as a blossom." She dropped her chin and quickly looked aside, as if she were a child who had lied. Rose said, "Then why you gonna make me ask?" She went and took the pillow from his grasp. So Red released the pillow, sat back down, as heavy thoughts pulled lips into a frown. She sat, the pillow on her lap, and said, "So what you gonna do, you reckon, Red?" "I's wrestling, Rose. Like grappling gorillas. But hard to think when getting popped with pillows. I want to wrap that whip around his neck and teach him how it feel to fight for breath. That's what he done to us. I hate him, Rose. I hate him from my hat down to my toes. I want to pay him back with all my soul. But something's telling me to cool my coals." The room's hanging partition moved a bit, and wagging Boone came ducking under it. Approaching Red, the dog came walking nigh to rest his droopy jowls on his thigh. Red looked long into those sagging eyes, as if they were a window for the wise. But they were more a mirror, framed in white, reflecting red, exposed by candlelight. Within the image of himself he saw the hatred in his face and clenching jaw. He saw his pain and bitterness and more. He saw the weariness of being poor. Within those eyes he saw that hate and love made him an animal in hunt for blood. Now that the prey was trapped, the hunt could end, and Red could all but taste his sweet revenge. The dog's reactive eyes were quickly closed by the approaching gentle hand of Rose, who petted Boone upon his silken head. "It's best to sleep on it, I reckon, Red." She handed him the pillow and he sighed to all that was reflected in those eyes. And Red blew out the candle for the night. The gray smoke drifted through the moon's pale light.